Good evening and happy Tuesday. I'm student meteorologist Ariana Whittick here with your Tuesday edition of FSU weather. So let's get right into it. As you can see, current conditions at Doak right now, we have sunny skies, a few clouds here and there, but temperatures nice and warm, 86 degrees, and a light wind coming out of the east at 8 miles per hour. Taking a look around the Big Bend, though, we can see temperatures are staying in the 80s for most of the area. But it's a little bit cooler down near the coast as you have that wind coming off the Gulf just to help cool things off. Tonight in Tallahassee, though, we're going to experience some mostly cloudy conditions and temperatures are going to be about 68 degrees, nice calm winds. And as we look into tonight's show, we can expect the rain to come back into the Tallahassee area through midweek. Storms are going to come into the plains and Midwest. And where can you see those fall colors in the U.S. right now? All this and more on FSU Weather.
Hello everybody, welcome back again. Happy Tuesday and happy New York Yankees Day, everybody. That's right, my New York Yankees are taking on the Cleveland Guardians tonight in the Bronx at 7:30. I'm very excited, and hopefully you guys are too. I'm sorry to Rays fans and also Mets fans. I know it was a very tough weekend. Again, but we're going to get back to the weather here. We have newly formed tropical storm Carl in the Bay of Campeche that formed just over an hour ago. It won't be any threat to the U.S. However, it is something to keep an eye on for central parts of Mexico, as we could get some very flooding rains from those. And of course, that'll lead to some flooding and some mudslides there because we do have some very mountainous terrain there. As for Tallahassee, though, we're actually going to get some much needed rainfall starting tomorrow and lasting into Thursday morning here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as that cold front starts to work its way towards the south and east, towards us here in the capital city of Florida. So keep an eye on that. We could get, again, we're going to get some very beneficial rainfall from that because we have a very dry October. But I'm going to pass things over to perhaps the biggest New York Yankee fan I know, besides myself, Ariana, to look at our first local forecast for Tallahassee.
Well, I don't know about big Yankee fan, but right now I am a huge fan of the sunny weather that we're experiencing in Tallahassee right now. As you can see, the sunshine is peeking through a few clouds here and there over Doak Campbell Stadium. We do have temperatures at 86 degrees and a light wind coming out of the east at 8 miles per hour. As for our temperature almanac today, those temperatures are slowly creeping up as we are getting ahead of a cold front that will work into the area as we head into the next couple days. So our high today was 88 and our low was a little bit chilly at 55 degrees. Temperatures around the Big Bend area keeping with the 80-degree pattern for most of the region. It's a little bit cooler along the coast. Apalachicola sitting at 77 right now. And like I was mentioning, those dew points are starting to increase ahead of this front, so we're going to see some more muggier conditions as we head out the door, so it's going to make those 80-degree temperatures actually feel like those 80-degree temperatures, very muggy outside. As for the rain right now, we can keep those umbrellas at bay. This right here is just some ground clutter, so no rain on the radar right now, but that will change over the next couple of days. Tonight's temperatures, though, we can see they're going to start to creep up a little bit, and temperatures are going to be staying in the upper 60s for most of the area, a little bit warmer down near the coast in Carabel and Apalachicola. But for tomorrow's highs, we can see those temperatures are going to start to increase into the 80s, mid-80s for most of the area. But overall, it's going to be a great day to head outdoors. In terms of rain, I was talking about, we can see that rain is going to start to work into the area as we head into Thursday, especially in those overnight hours. So if you are outside Wednesday night going into early Thursday morning, be prepared for a possible strong line of thunderstorms to work through that area as a cold front is going to push through and bring some cooler air behind it. In terms of our marine forecast, we can see some rainier conditions in Panama City, but temperatures are going to be nice and good at 82 degrees. Seas might be a little rough out there as the wind is going to start to pick up, so seas running about 2 feet tomorrow, and the water temp is nice and chilly at 86 degrees. As for the res, it is nice and calm out there, so great day to head out and rent a canoe or even a paddleboard out there. But for our dog walk forecast, you can see the best time to take your dog on a walk is going to be those earlier hours, as those rain chances are going to start to increase as you head throughout the rest of the day. in terms of those afternoon chances of rain, slowly increasing along with those temperatures into the mid-80s for the Tallahassee area. And as you can see, those stormy weather is going to return Wednesday and Thursday, but after that front pushes through, nice sunny skies and a little bit cooler temperature. Temperatures even dipping down into the upper 40s, so break out those winter coats. How do you like that cold weather, Genevieve?
Now, me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the cold weather, but you did say winter coats, and that is something that sounds applicable to me. I get pretty cold pretty easily. But not only the winter coats are we bring out the rain jackets, the umbrellas, everything else we need. Your Florida area cameras at the moment showing pretty nice St. George Island. Not sure what's happening on the screen. Might be a little bit dewy outside, but the res, Lake Bradford, looking pretty beautiful, I would say. Current temperatures for the area is showing 86 here in Tallahassee. Looking at the mid to upper 80s all throughout the state, as you see down the peninsula, we're getting into the 90s, 90 in Miami and in Key West. Palm Beach looking pretty hot as well, unfortunately. It is October 11th, and we are seeing 90 degrees. I don't even know what to say at that point. But our dew points aren't helping us too much either. So as Ariana mentioned before, we do have that cold front coming in to sweep through the southeast, but really through Florida for the most part, and we see the really dewy temperatures and the muggy conditions ahead of the cold front. That isn't making it too nice outside. Hair is frizzing up, you're sweating a little bit walking to class, it's a little hot out, so really just not ideal conditions. And the heat index will follow that. So the heat index tells us what the temperature outside really feels like with things like cloud cover, sunlight peeking through, and those kinds of things. So 85 here in Tallahassee, not too bad, but I'm going to show you that scorching 96 down in Miami and Key West. Key West is supposed to be a place that's so fun that you go on vacation. 98 degrees on October 11th. Yikes, not the place for vacation. But for now, the current radar is showing us no precipitation in the Big Bend area, but that will soon change as the night goes on into tomorrow. Miami, my hometown, home city, I took that picture, actually. We're seeing some rain here, too. The rain is going to follow throughout most of Florida as the front passes, and also just pop-up showers that are occurring throughout the state. 20% tomorrow, and a really stormy 60% on Thursday. We're looking at the mid-80s for our highs. Sounds pretty normal. Tampa, though, you're seeing 88 degrees there tomorrow with rain to come tomorrow as well as Thursday, and you'll get some relief on Friday, maybe go out to eat with your friends after work, after school. But overall, still very hot. Orlando, similar story, 50% precipitation on Wednesday and Thursday, and you do get that relief on Friday, so I say the same. Head to Disney on Friday if you can. Maybe your coworkers, maybe your classmates, I would recommend. And if you are in Jacksonville, it's going to be rainy until Friday. Pensacola, similar story, rainy tomorrow. Overall, just a lot of rain going on throughout the state. We'll see those lows dip down to 68 here in Tallahassee, but Evan, southeast, what are we thinking? What are we seeing in the future?
Well, we're going to have very similar conditions to what Florida is going to experience. You see all that rain coming in from that big cold front that's going to be moving through. And the southeast is going to have something very similar as we go forward in time here into tomorrow and into Thursday. It might not seem that way right now. You can see, look at that, Mexico Beach, Atlanta, Charlotte, Blacksburg, actually a little cool there. It's 60 degrees right now, but it looks beautiful out there. You had no idea that lots of storms are coming in tomorrow and Thursday, but trust me, they're coming. And boy, do we need the rain, because we are actually in somewhat of a drought here in the southeast. That's not something that we can say too often in this region of the U.S. But as for right now, the calm before the storm, we're sitting in the low 80s. Some places are in the 70s up further to the north, like Atlanta and Charleston. But Florida is back to its usual self, bringing those hot temperatures to much of the state. And the humidity is back as well, and that's making it feel much hotter than it actually is. You can see Miami, Tampa sitting well above that 90-degree mark in terms of heat index. That's when you factor in the heat and humidity. So again, the dew points are much higher than they were, say, this time last week. And that's because we're getting some moisture advected in ahead of this cold front, and that's going to make things conducive for that cold front and bring all those rain showers and storms to this area. You can see, again, you remember last week, if you watched this last week, these numbers were much lower. So Florida was sitting in the 60s in terms of dew point. Now we're about 5 to 10 degrees higher on the dew point scale, sitting in the 70s, middle 70s there in Miami. That's a very summer-like dew point. So that makes it feel like a summer day out there. And we're in the middle of October, so you don't really see that all that often. You can see even in Montgomery and Tallahassee, we're much higher on the dew point scale than we were last week. That's because, again, we're getting the moisture advected in from the Gulf of Mexico ahead of the approaching cold front. You can kind of see that on the water vapor. Last week, we had a lot of browns and blacks showing up in this part of the U.S. We don't have that this week. More gray in color there. We're working up the moisture scale, even though it's not terribly humid. It's not like the summer throughout much of the southeast, but it's more humid than it has been. You might notice that change today because we have a change in wind direction. You can see all the wind barbs here coming off the Gulf of Mexico, going from south to north, and that's bringing all that moisture in ahead of the cold front, which is way back there in the northern plains right now, but that'll sweep in tomorrow afternoon and overnight tomorrow night and into Thursday as well. We're still dealing here with some river flood warnings in the wake of Hurricane Ian. This has been, I believe it was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago that Hurricane Ian struck Florida, but we're still dealing with the effects of some river flood warnings here in northeastern Florida. So just be aware of that. As of right now, we don't have any active alerts in terms of storms, but that'll change as we go into tomorrow. Tonight, though, looks comfortable. You don't take these thunderstorm icons too seriously. I think this is a little ahead here. I don't think these storms will really come in until later in the day tomorrow, so don't take that all that seriously. The storms will come in later in the day tomorrow. As you see here, Memphis is another place that's going to get those stormy conditions, but we drop off in terms of temperature down into the middle 70s on Thursday, so nice and comfortable. And tomorrow looks like nice in terms of temperature, but not so nice in terms of rainfall, Genevieve. But how is the national looking? How is the U.S. looking in general?
So you definitely briefed over the southeast, which is great to know that currently we're having some nice conditions, but that will soon change going into tomorrow and to Thursday. But nationally, we're looking at some storms to come into the Midwest and into the plains, but overall, not too much rain or severe weather going on besides that. So current temperatures for the country is looking pretty warm, the warmest on the map in Miami. So our beautiful sunshine state is definitely providing that sunshine and giving us really warm temperatures that places like the Pacific Northwest and also just the West Coast is not seeing. They're very lucky. In San Francisco, a nice little dew point of 55 and a dew point in Seattle where my brother lives at 47. He is one lucky duck when here in Tallahassee we're seeing 58 and down at home in Miami, 75? 75? That is so muggy outside. And hot. Let's not forget about that. Upper level water vapor, we're seeing I do want to point out the front that is to come where we'll see the dry air behind it and the really moist dewy air in front of it. And the surface map will follow that as we see that front draped through Florida, and we'll see here coming those storms you'll see start to pop up. But the overall story is high pressure throughout the country except for these storms that we'll zoom into just a little bit. The active alerts for the area, fire weather watches and warnings are definitely very prominent going into South Dakota as well as here we're looking at even Colorado. And Colorado is special because I do want to show you just a little tiny thing. We have a freeze warning in Colorado, in southern Colorado, as well as I'd say southeast Idaho. We're seeing some freeze warnings, which, I mean, it is October, so it is pretty chilly out, but overall, a freeze warning? And then here at home, we're seeing really dewy conditions and hot temperatures. We're getting a mix, that's for sure. So that Midwest radar, I do want to make sure that if you are in the Midwest, if you are in Chicago or in the southwest of Michigan, that you have your rain jacket prepared, that you are staying at home, maybe watching some Netflix, some TV, because you will see that rain follow in the next few days. Going into Friday, we're seeing the most amount of rain, 3 to 5 inches, down in New Hampshire. Look at that, just north of Manchester, we're seeing quite a bit of rain, so I would advise stay home, get your homework done, get your work done. That's what I would advise. And hopefully that rain is going to give relief to the drought that we are seeing throughout the country. Now, there is small amounts of drought on the East Coast where we'll be seeing quite a bit of rain, as I just showed in New Hampshire and the Northeast. But that rain isn't so needed in the Midwest. Of course, rain is always needed, but the places we need it most, such as California, is not seeing that. And we're going to see that outlook from the Storm Prediction Center show us the chance of severe weather. We're seeing that marginal risk going today as well as tomorrow. It is going to shift southward, going into Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, states like that. And that will disappear as the week goes on. Looking into Thursday, it gets less and less severe. Tomorrow's temperature is definitely a little bit chilly here, but going into the rest of the country, they're seeing close to normal temperatures overall. Pretty nice temperatures, except for the southeast as we get that front. Now, Evan, the tropics, what's going on?
Well, the tropics are always active, and of course you guys can always donate towards Hurricane Ian relief. That's always something very generous that you can do, because people down in South Florida are still dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. It's a very powerful storm, of course. But as for active tropics, we actually have newly named Tropical Storm Carl. I mean, I can cross that off the list here. That was formed just over an hour ago as of 5 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center. Their advisory labeled Carl here in the Bay of Campeche, 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm here. Not moving a whole lot, northwest at 6 miles per hour, and it's not going to be any threat to the U.S. It won't be traveling north. It'll actually stay in this area and kind of do a little bit of a U-turn there back into the country of Mexico there. So that's going to bring a lot of heavy rainfall to that area, and that, of course, will lead to some mudslides and flooding there, because this is very mountainous terrain, so they'll have to deal with that with the excessive rainfall over the next few days here. And here there is the cone from the National Hurricane Center. It really meanders here in the southern Gulf and then takes a left turn into the country of Mexico by the time we get to Friday, it looks like, or Thursday or Friday, it seems like. It won't be moving a whole lot. Again, it's moving very slowly off to the northwest here before it makes that left turn. And then that yellow color there, we actually have a tropical storm watch that was just issued as of 5 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center. So we'll have to watch this carefully. It won't get very strong. The maximum winds it looks like it'll obtain is 50 miles per hour. So if you know anybody in this area, you might want to just let them know that this is on its way. There could be some gusty winds that may blow around some loose objects around the home. And of course, the heavy rainfall is probably going to be the biggest story with this. There's one model that takes this north towards the U.S. I don't see that happening. This will really be a Mexico event. This will not be something for the U.S. to be worried about. But again, the main thing to worry about for Mexico is going to be this heavy rainfall. Some of this red color here, that's 3 to 5 inches of rainfall, and I'm sure that there will be locally higher amounts as well. And you can see why this developed. There are actually some very warm sea surface temperatures there in the Gulf of Mexico, and there it is on satellite. You see that counterclockwise rotation there over that southern Gulf. But again, we are still in hurricane season, so again, while we have a little bit of a lull here, even though we just got Carl, it's always good to get those hurricane kits and stay informed, because hurricane season does go through November, Ariana.
That is right. And talking about November coming up brings us to a fall outlook. And we're actually going to travel to the northeast to Mount Pocono in Pennsylvania. So some fun facts about Mount Pocono. The population is about 3,100, and it is home to 2,400 miles of mountains. And across those mountains you have water parks, ski resorts, a lot of outdoor activities, which I like to go outdoors. And I would like to give a little shout out to my aunts who live up in Pennsylvania, who sent in this wonderful photo of the fall colors that they are experiencing up in Pennsylvania. So on Saturday, there's actually going to be a marathon in the Poconos, and we have just a little timeline as to what you can expect for early morning race conditions. Temperatures are barely even getting into the 40s before they kind of dip down back into the 30s by the races beginning. Currently, though, right now in Mount Pocono, it is a bit chilly for us Floridians. Current temperatures are 61 degrees and mostly cloudy conditions. a look across the Pennsylvania and Pocono Mountain area, you can see temperatures are sitting in the 60s for most of the area, 70 a little bit farther south, but that is going to change here over the next couple days. In terms of rain though, there's no rain in sight on the map right now, but that will change into the future. So you can see the rain is going to start to creep into the area as you head into those overnight hours. And then the future radar is going to show that cold front push its way into the area as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, so that those rain chances are going to start to pick up here over the next couple of days. But for our 3-day outlook here in the Pocono Mountains, our best chance of seeing rain is Thursday. It's going to bring about some stormier weather. And in talking about the stormier weather, we're also going to talk about those cool fall temperatures. And this area is shaded in blue for likely seeing below average temperatures for the month of October. So we're going to keep with that fall weather and have those trees change colors. And I don't know, I love when the trees change colors, but that doesn't really happen here.
No, I do see some leaves on the ground starting to change color, some leaves falling, Ariana. But overall, it's just not hitting the same as Poconos Mountains would in Pennsylvania, in my personal opinion. We're going to take it back locally, head to the lifestyle. We're currently on Landis. If you are studying while the sun is setting, it's currently 78 degrees, partly cloudy, pretty nice conditions if you want to get your homework done. But if you aren't doing your homework at the moment and you want to take the pooch on a walk, some beautiful Westies behind me, I would say that 7 a.m. is the time to do it because 11 a.m., it's getting warmer and the rain chance is increasing. We will be seeing lots of rain tomorrow, and in the morning is definitely no exception. Tonight, if you do plan to head out to College Town or just, head maybe fast food with your friends, late night Publix run, it's going to be 68 degrees, mostly cloudy, a pretty nice night. Late night drive, that's what I was talking about. Maybe you want to go to Whataburger, maybe Taco Bell if you're really desperate. If you do plan to go on that late night drive, I will say it's going to be really nice at 11 p.m. So closer to midnight, it's going to be looking into the low 70s into the upper 60s. If you are thinking about going a little bit crazy and flying somewhere else in the country, maybe a little midweek trip, per se. If you are flying out of Tallahassee International, you have that green plane, which means you have no delays. If you do plan to stay here, and let's say you're really involved with sports and you want to support our Knowles who golf, we love Knowles who golf, specifically the men's golf, that will be happening tomorrow in Juno Beach, Florida. So maybe you want to travel with your friends if you really, really want to support your Knowles. 85 degrees, it will be cloudy. No rain in the forecast, but overall we can't rule out a shower as well as quite the clouds in the sky. Our home football game, that's something that we all get excited about, whether we lose or whether we win. You keep that to yourself, but it will be 75 degrees at 7:30 when kickoff happens, and it'll be pretty nice and clear. The sun will be setting. It should be good whether we win or lose, Optimistic I am. Women's soccer here at home, Florida State versus Duke University. That'll be occurring at Thursday at 6 p.m. where the temperature will be pretty warm, I would say 80 degrees at the Seminole Soccer Complex, but always we want to root for our Knowles. The women's soccer team has an amazing history. World champs, they're really, really, really amazing. If you are going to stay more locally and hit Lake Bradford for the res, it's going to be 86 degrees right now. And the sun is setting. Maybe you want to hit the beach as well, where the water is nice and warm at 76 degrees. Overall, really nice, specifically to go pumpkin picking this Saturday with your friends. Now, Evan, are you thinking about going pumpkin picking this weekend?
I'm actually not. My parents are actually coming down for the football game against number 4 ranked Clemson. Don't tell anybody, but my mom actually went to Clemson, so we don't like that too much. But it's okay. It's okay. She's rooting for Florida State, so I talked her into it. She's okay. But we're looking over at Doak Campbell Stadium, where that football game will be taking place this Saturday. The sun is shining, and there are actually some high, thin cirrus clouds over the stadium right now. A sign of things to come. We'll have more clouds coming into the area tomorrow and Thursday, but enjoy the sunshine while it lasts, because next 2 days won't be as nice as today. We'll get a little bit of a break from this dry pattern that we've been having here, but temperatures are still in the low to mid 80s across much of the area. The lone exception, though, is Apalachicola, where you have that sea breeze coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, cooling you off a little bit with that marine influence there. And because we have the breeze coming off the Gulf of Mexico, our dew points are much higher, so it feels more muggy outside. You can see how high they are. 69 there in Monticello, same thing for Apalachicola, so the mugginess is back, and unfortunately that will lead to more humid conditions, but not overly humid as we sometimes see in the summertime here. Again, this is the reason why we have an easterly flow, also a southerly flow off the Gulf of Mexico in our western location, so that's why it feels more humid than it typically does for this time of the year, and that it has been. Remember last week we were in the 40s for our dew points, maybe even lower in some places, but the rainfall is not here in Tallahassee yet. That's just ground clouder. There's no rainfall actually occurring right now, but we have very clear skies, just some high, thin, cirrus clouds. Again, remember that dope camel shot. There's no rainfall actually around right now, but that'll change as we go into tomorrow. But tonight, it looks comfy out there, sitting in the middle to upper 60s, so warmer overnight lows than we have been previously experiencing. Remember last week we were in the lower 50s for our low temperatures. So this is a change from that, and it's again in thanks to the return of the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. Tomorrow, sitting in the middle 80s, maybe even upper 80s in some locations, but the thunderstorms will come back during the day tomorrow and into tomorrow night. You can see that here in the future radar. There is the front, and it looks very strong in terms of rainfall. Lots of rainfall coming with this front. Much needed rainfall as we have been in a bit of a drought here in Tallahassee. Not a great day for the marine boaters out there, so please heed any advisories that are out there. Again, tomorrow, looks like we'll have some showers throughout the day tomorrow. And again, here's the 7-day. We look good for the football game. That's really all that matters at this point. Right, Ariana?
Right. I am very excited. My parents are coming into town, and some of my family is flying in from Pennsylvania to come and watch the football game. But overall, I'm looking forward to those sunny skies returning to the area. You know, it was very sunny for the past couple weeks, and that has created some problems in terms of a drought in our area because of that lack of rainfall. But rain will be returning to the area as we head into tomorrow, and especially Thursday once that cold front pushes through the area. And you know, that rain is going to help, but then after the front, it's going to get a little bit cooler as some drier air is going to work back into the area, lowering those dew points and really pushing the moisture out of the area. So it's going to be nice and sunny, clear conditions for any activities that you have planned this weekend. So great weekend to head outdoors. We also talked about the tropics and how we have that one area to watch with Tropical Storm Carl. So if you are in Mexico, be cautious of the storm just for potential rainfall in the area. And you know, if you like us, please follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU weather. And then you can also watch us live on YouTube Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. on youtube.com/FSU weather, and send us some of your weather photos on Instagram at FSU weather. So we covered a lot in the show, tropics, where you can see the fall leaves are at, and then also how the 7-day is going to look. So we're going to pass it one more time off to the 7-day just to get that final look. And as you can see, rain Wednesday and Thursday, and then sunshine is returning for the weekend. I hope everyone has a great night. See you tomorrow.